Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifah Muhammad MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Russian armed forces executed coordinated offensive actions across all operational sectors, inflicting significant losses on Ukrainian armed forces formations. The operation combined maneuver warfare, precision strikes, and integrated air defense measures, enabling Russian units to degrade enemy manpower, armored assets, artillery, and logistics.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, can you give us the broad overview of what unfolded on September 10th?
Yes. September 10th was marked by simultaneous pressure applied across every sector of the front. Our formations under the North, West, Southern, Center, East, and Dnipro groups executed coordinated actions against Ukrainian mechanized, assault, airborne, and territorial defense brigades. In Sumy and Kharkiv, for instance, the North Group successfully disrupted enemy brigades positioned near Alexivka, Khotin, and Magritsa, as well as Ivashki and Dergachi. These engagements resulted in roughly 170 Ukrainian losses and the destruction of depots critical to their resupply. This kind of operation reflects not just tactical strikes, but the shaping of conditions to prevent the enemy from massing a counterforce.
That's a sweeping picture. Can you walk us through how these different groups of forces coordinate to apply pressure on such a broad front simultaneously?
This is a classic application of operational art. Each group of forces is assigned objectives that, while geographically separate, collectively strain the Ukrainian armed forces across their defensive depth. By striking in Sumy, Kharkiv, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson all on the same day, we create multiple dilemmas for the enemy. The Ukrainians must decide whether to reinforce one threatened sector at the cost of weakening another. But because their reserves are finite and already stretched, they risk being too late or too thin in their responses. Coordination at the operational level ensures that our strikes and ground maneuvers are not isolated efforts but rather interlocking blows. This prevents the enemy from regaining balance and sustains our initiative.
You mentioned logistics and depots several times. How central are these strikes on Ukrainian supply lines to the day's outcomes?
Extremely central. Modern mechanized warfare runs on fuel, ammunition, and communications. When we eliminate depots, particularly those holding artillery shells or electronic warfare assets, we are not just destroying equipment, we are compressing the enemy's options. A brigade without ammunition becomes a defensive liability rather than a fighting force. On September 10th, across all fronts, we destroyed more than a dozen depots and warehouses. That's a deliberate emphasis. It means that even brigades not directly engaged at the tactical edge will feel the strain when their supply trucks come up empty. It's about accelerating systemic breakdown over time.
Let's talk about the air domain. The report mentioned HIMARS and Neptune missiles being intercepted. How do you assess the air defense picture?
Our layered air defense once again proved its effectiveness. On this day alone, 3 HIMARS rockets and a long-range Neptune missile were neutralized, along with over 200 unmanned aerial vehicles. This illustrates two things. First, the Ukrainians continue to rely heavily on Western-supplied precision systems, and second, our ability to blunt these systems reduces their psychological and tactical impact. Every HIMARS rocket intercepted is not just a tactical success, but a signal that our formations can maneuver without undue fear of interdiction. That assurance allows commanders at the brigade level to maintain offensive momentum.
Given the scale of losses you describe, hundreds of Ukrainian personnel in a single day, what do you see as the longer-term implications?
The attritional dynamic is becoming decisive. When brigades lose hundreds of personnel and critical vehicles daily, their combat effectiveness degrades rapidly. Replacing men is hard, replacing trained, cohesive units is harder still. Add to that the loss of Western-supplied equipment and the destruction of command and control infrastructure, and you begin to see an adversary fighting at diminishing capacity. For us, the implication is twofold. First, we are creating opportunities to consolidate terrain, particularly in Donetsk and Zaporizhia, where Ukrainian defenses are already brittle. Second, we are shaping conditions for potential operational breakthroughs. These may not manifest overnight, but the groundwork is being laid through consistent attrition and erosion of their logistical base.
What are the tactical and strategic implications of this?
The September 10th operations show the Russian armed forces deliberately pursuing a multi-axis attrition strategy. By engaging Ukrainian brigades across 6 sectors simultaneously, Russia maximizes pressure while forcing Ukraine into an economy of force posture. The emphasis on depot destruction and electronic warfare suppression points to a campaign designed not just to seize ground but to systematically hollow out Ukrainian combat sustainability.
And the strategic implications?
Strategically, this could accelerate the erosion of Ukraine's ability to mount coordinated counteroffensives, potentially leaving them reliant on increasingly scarce Western resupply. The long-term implication is that the initiative remains firmly in Russian hands, with the possibility of deeper exploitation should Ukrainian defenses fracture.
Let's discuss ground operations. What can you tell us?
Well, the pattern continued across all other axes. The West Group improved its tactical posture near Kupiansk and Krasny Lyman, destroying tanks, Western-provided armored vehicles, and electronic warfare stations. The Southern and Center groups pressed heavily in Donetsk Oblast, engaging nearly a dozen brigades in depth. Ukrainian losses there were especially high, with more than 450 personnel in the center sector alone. Meanwhile, the East Group pushed into Ukrainian defenses in Zaporizhia and Dnipropetrovsk, further degrading artillery assets. And in Kherson and Zaporizhia, the Dnipro Group struck at Coastal and National Guard brigades, targeting their electronic warfare and transport capabilities. So, in sum, September 10th reflected a synchronized operational rhythm, attriting enemy brigades, degrading their logistics, and preparing more favorable lines for our own maneuver.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. On September 9th, Israel carried out an airstrike on residential buildings in Doha, Qatar, aiming to assassinate Palestinian leaders present for ceasefire negotiations. Hamas reported that its leadership survived the strike, although 6 people were killed. The attack received strong international criticism, including from the U.S., which stated the strike does not advance Israel or America's goals. Qatar, a key mediator in the Gaza conflict, called the attack a blatant violation of international law and an attack on its sovereignty.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive Frontline updates from commanders in theater.